it's Carol. Clearly, my mouth in the video isn't going with what you're hearing, right? Well, that's because your girl here accidentally flipped the silent switch on her iPhone just before recording, and I didn't realize that the app I was using wouldn't record the audio otherwise. So, here we are. Anyhow, I would never have this video uploaded today if I re-recorded and edited everything all over again. So I'm doing a voiceover of everything I said in the video. So just stick around, watch my funny facial expressions, and listen to what I'm about to share. I hope this can definitely help motivate or inspire someone. So guys, we are on week 3 of my journey to 50, and I appreciate every last one of my 38 subbies here. You guys are awesome. I'm gonna come up with a name for my subbies, like probably, how about grown ups? That could work, eh? So shout out to all my grown ups out there. Love you. Today I want to talk about what got me from this to this in 4 months. You always hear it said that 80% of the journey to weight loss begins in the kitchen. What you fuel your body with is very important. But for grown-up foodies like me, we can't be chewing on grass every day in order to lose weight. The stress alone will cause us to break out in hives. I want to be free to enjoy my food. I don't believe in moderation at all. I believe in balance. So once you have a balanced lifestyle with all the elements needed to fully function efficiently, you'll be fine. I'm not saying eat a 16-ounce tub of ice cream every day, but know that you can have that 16 ounce of ice cream every once in a while without feeling guilty and stressing out over it, because your prevailing habits are far greater and more consistent than your once in a while indulgence, right? So I eat healthy most of the time, even though I fast intermittently. But due to my foodie nature, I do indulge every now and then. And I was first introduced to the idea of intermittent fasting over 25 years ago by, believe it or not, Dean Fraser. I doubt that Dean even knew that intermittent fasting was a term used for what he was doing, because what he always said was, don't eat after 6 o'clock. And years ago, I did my best to adhere to that, but then I found some fad diet or the other and went off on a tangent. But people might say Dean may not be the benchmark of weight loss, but then again, maybe he is, because the Dean I knew over 25 years ago was much larger than the Dean now. And although some of the weight loss may be due to age in these current times, but hey, big up yourself, Dean Fraser, for real, you know? More recently though, within the past 5 or 10 years, thereabout, my friend Adina Marie, she mentioned intermittent fasting to me, and it fell on deaf ears because at the time I was all into eating 4 to 6 small meals a day, including snacks and snacks between meals and all kinds of stuff that required me being extremely active in order to burn that all off, and it was unsustainable. Right? I'm all about that sustainability must be lifestyle sustainable. So there's no way I could have kept up with that kind of exercise regime, especially on the Unicity plan. I know I keep bringing up Unicity all the time, but I learned a lot of positive, and I also learned a lot, separately. But it wasn't until recently I started doing research on YouTube, because a video came up in my suggested videos, and it was a YouTuber named Colleen Marie, who is of Jamaican descent, which of course added to her authenticity for me, because a lot of times we watch people on YouTube and we just don't know if it's legit, because we don't know these people. So although I didn't know her either, the mere fact that her accent popped out every now and then added some credence to her message, and I became intrigued by her results, and I actually binge watched every last one of her videos. Colleen no longer does intermittent fasting due to a health condition she discovered she had, but her whole direction set me on my way, and that was all I needed. But before I even get there though, I used to think I could never fast because I would always get headaches whenever I didn't eat for a few hours. When I was younger, I would have terrible vertigo episodes with the room spinning and all kind of nonsense. The only thing that would fix it was syrup and water, which my parents would give me to, kind of settle me down. Little did I know that that was actually a blood sugar issue. I was having blood sugar issues from that time. And, um, it really goes to follow that both my parents eventually developed full blown diabetes. So I know I was this close to being there. As a matter of fact, all the adults in my family were diabetic. All my parents' siblings were diabetic, both parents. And they also developed heart disease because, the two, diabetes and heart disease, go hand in hand. So there you have it. But one thing I learned early was that these illnesses are also known as metabolic syndrome, and they're related to your lifestyle. Diabetes doesn't run in anybody's family. It's just that we tend to assimilate the habits and lifestyle of our parents and therefore develop the same types of illnesses. It's also very connected to our families sharing a similar microbiome. But I won't even go into that today because that's a whole other video. Trust me, that is extensive. Anyway, as I was saying, I always thought fasting was not for me and that I was incapable of fasting due to the side effects which I had experienced when I don't eat for extended periods. But I buck up on fasting in April of this year purely due to desperation. Listen to this story now. I was going to work on a cruise and I had my measurements taken for my uniform, because every time we go to perform, we have to get new uniform and whatever. And it's a good thing the seamstress never used the measurements that she had for me from before, because there is no way on God's green earth I could have did fit into that uniform with those measurements. Anyhow, the uniform was made, and I knew in the back of my mind that if I had anything to eat, right, on the day of the performance, anything at all, I would not be able to fit in the people them outfit to go perform for the evening. And we were performing the very night that we embarked on the ship. So from the evening before, I ate nothing. Right, I had my last meal probably like around probably around 4 o'clock, and I just cut off. And I walked with my water bottle and I sipped throughout the following day, which was the day we were supposed to go on the ship. And I think I may have put a little lime in it. I don't even quite remember. But I knew I had to do this because the moment I put anything else in my stomach, I would bloat up. And I used to experience extreme bloating back then, no matter what I ate. I had nothing the entire day, right? The same day that we were going on the ship. And we didn't hit the stage until around midnight. I was taking note of how I felt every step of the way because the last thing I wanted to experience was about a vertigo, especially on a ship. And I'm a person who travel sickness is a serious thing for me. I've never been travel sick on a ship though, that's strange enough. But driving, like I'm driving to Portland, oh God, the worst thing was for me to go visit my grandmother who lived in Portland because I couldn't take junction and all of that. It's pure vomiting. Anyhow, so as I was taking note of how I was feeling, having not eaten the whole day and everything, I realized that I felt stronger than ever. And in the evening, when it was time to fit into the people them clothes, I zipped up the uniform, stepped out on stage. I didn't feel tired or anything, and it went well. And immediately following the show, me and my son headed straight for the restaurant. Cause with cruises, it's all about the food, right? And although I thought I was going to yam down the place, I honestly did not feel that hungry at all. I was quite surprised. Took up a whole heap of food and couldn't finish it. I bigger than my belly, as usual. But the whole feeling was very intriguing to me. It was so fascinating. throughout my whole time on the ship, which was another couple days, when there is unlimited food at any hour, I wasn't hungry at all, or I was as hungry as I thought I would be. Anyhow, I spent a few days in Orlando with my son at the home of my aunt, who is really a family friend. And when I returned home, I started to do serious research on intermittent fasting because I had actually done it and I didn't die. I thought I would have, but I didn't. So I researched for the remainder of the month of April and decided to give it a shot on May 1st. All right, so I started off doing 16-8, which is basically 16 hours of fasting with an 8-hour eating window. I did that for the month of May and I survived. Woohoo! So I upped my game to 18-6, which is 18 hours of fasting with a 6-hour eating window. For the next 2 weeks of June, that's all I did, right? And again, I survived. So for the last 2 weeks of June, I upped my game again and shaved off another 2 hours from my eating window and went down to 24, which is 20 hours fasting, 4-hour eating window. When I looked at the number and I said, okay, but if I can fast for 20 hours, I should be able to do OMAD. Now, OMAD stands for 1 meal a day. So I did OMAD for a month, right? Just to be sure that I would be okay. I, endured for a month. And with OMAD, I had basically a 1 hour, to eat anything I wanted. And though I kept it healthy for the most part, and the pounds were just, I kept it really healthy for the most part. Probably about, I'd say about 80% of the time, and the pounds just kept dropping off. I was able to fit into my clothes again and feeling more comfortable and confident within myself. And by the way, it was during this period, in terms of exercise, I was just walking, right? I did a few push-ups and other bodyweight exercises here and there, and I would jump rope also, which I couldn't stand doing that. But my husband introduced me to it a few weeks ago, and what am I saying about a few weeks ago? A few months ago. And, I've kind of started to enjoy it. But I didn't start officially training for the marathon until July. So the results that I got in that month were purely based on just walking and intermittent fasting. And I was still walking during the first month of marathon training, right? I wasn't running at all. It was all walking. But back to intermittent fasting. So once I saw that OMAD, that's 1 meal a day, was great, and I was having more energy than ever and continued to do more and more research on intermittent fasting, I learned so much about the tremendous benefits it has to your body. I grew more and more confident in what I was doing, and I decided to experiment even more. So I ventured further by implementing ADF, which is alternate day fasting. Right? Same girl I mentioned earlier, Colleen Marie, she's an ADFer, or an alternate day faster. In other words, you eat every other day. So you have a day of feasting where you eat as much as you want, as long as you want, and a day of fasting where you eat absolutely nothing. Right? But you can have, you have water, and you can have some people, strict people just have water, but some people also have black coffee or black tea, right? And I started having fun with this and delighting in the days when I fasted. I would call those my spa days, where I totally pampered myself, gave myself a facial, with face mask, and soaked my feet, and gave myself a complete body massage after coming out of the shower, and maybe even did a body scrub in the shower. So much so that the whole body massage routine after showering became a routine for me, whether fasting or not, It was a way to feel good about myself and my body and appreciate my body, which is a gift that God has given me for all it has done and continues to do for me. So I went further to experiment with a 2-day fast. I think I've done maybe 2 or 3 of those along the way, but those require some serious headspace. Trust me, it's not very easy. But one day I think I will work my way up to doing a 5-day fast, which they claim is the ultimate reset, particularly for your immune system. But I think I'll venture into that in the new year, or maybe later in 2022 after the marathon in December. But right now, I'm in a period of varying my fasts. So, yesterday I fasted, right? And tomorrow yesterday I fasted and today I'm eating, right? And I have found that along this journey, I am most comfortable and I sleep a lot better when I cut off my eating window at around 2 p.m., 2:30, I'm usually up very early, sometimes from 2 a.m. to get work done during the quiet hours, but most times between 3 and 4 a.m. so I can get a few things in, like my meditation, some reading, journaling, and finally get out before dark 30, as they say, to go training, right? Which again is predominantly walking. For the marathon, I'm using the Galloway method, so it's walking and running a bit. I'm reintroducing my body to running, because you can't just get up and just start run. I mean, you can, but you must know, what you're going to feel. And I haven't really been consistent in running for about 2 years, probably about the 2 years of COVID. So adopting Galloway is really a good way for me to work my way back in. So as I said, I'm mostly walking. I'm up to 3 minutes and 15 seconds of walking for every 45 seconds of running. And it's been working. Even on a broken toe, which is well strapped. Don't tell my doctor, because she's going to be very upset. But I have a serious determination and I have my goals, and I'm just going to go for it.